Welcome back to Motherboard News, everyone. I'm hoping you're having a fantastic day. So this week we actually had quite a few major things pop up. And it's not even Friday, at least not when I'm recording this. I'm anticipating something else coming up for Friday, but what has already happened is a large number of things. Starting off, they released a It's Fixed number 13. The main tagline, and you probably already heard about this, is that the hull aiming system used by the Strv 103 as well as the VT12 is fixed. Well, at least that's what they're saying. They changed a lot, but not the way it functions. It still seems to do the same thing, but I guess their programming method was different. Regardless, the outcome is that it's a whole lot better. I haven't actually used it in combat yet, but I tested it out and it's very smooth. Also, I did not notice the tank wobbling if you happen to be at an angle like it used to. However, it actually still did wobble. A very small degree, and I think that was a pretty steep, bizarre angle. There's a few other issues though, like when you use binocular to adjust your aim, it acts a little funny. Generally, I would say that it's not fixed, but it's a whole lot better. If the tank was released like this, I don't think anyone would be necessarily upset about it. Some of the other fixes they had, not really a fix, more of a change, and I think is also pretty important, though I'm not sure to what degree, is there's been a slight buff to angle penetration of AP ammunition. They've reworked some of their penetration algorithm, did a bunch of magical science stuff. The basic outcome is, at least to me, because I checked 2 shells, is it seems that angled penetration, especially 60 degrees, is higher. It's not a noticeable bout. For example, they show the changes for the BR-147B, and it gained about 11 millimeters at 60 degrees. Nobody saw this coming, so no one really wrote down all the penetration charts for every shell, and the changes are pretty small, but I wonder if there's any shell out there that somebody's going to skip over that one day we'll realize has some crazy angled penetration that can now penetrate this or that. Ideally, I'd hope that they rework the penetration calculator even more so to match it more often with historical records of what these shells could do. There's a good few less exciting bugs and issues that got fixed. For example, if you happen to have enough spawn points to take out a stock aircraft, but don't see that because you have an armament attached and you leave the match, you won't be penalized anymore. And other minor things like toggling night vision and binoculars will switch to commander's view with the night vision on. Honestly, they should just give you night vision binoculars. Like, I got a night vision monocular. Night vision binoculars are a thing. They're not that expensive, so it wouldn't be too surprising if a commander for a tank had some. Just make it so it's only infrared and not thermals, so you have to switch to the commander's view to actually have the thermals. It's fair and fine and less annoying. Also, they made the S-13OF rockets weigh 69 kilograms. Nice. Next on my list of things to talk about were the battle rating changes, the ones I made my last video about, and they are now in action and have not changed from the last proposal. At least I didn't notice any changes. However, with the changes to the battle rating, there's also a few other things. Most obvious being the HSTVL can now fire all of its ammunition without ever having to reload, and it burns that ammunition quite fast. Can't wait to test out in the upcoming stream. The various tanks that I said will get their new round got their new round. The JPZ-45, something I didn't realize but should have anticipated, it actually lost the APCR round entirely. Now you start with HESH and have to research the heat. This is funny, actually, people have been saying for quite some time is that Canada never had an APCR round. Finally, after years, that correction has been made. And oddly enough, the tech tree positions have not been changed. Those were proposed once again in the economic changes proposed, so I guess you have to wait on those a little bit. The XM1 got a buff to its armor against APFSDS rounds, and now it should be able to deflect 115mm 3BM4 rounds coming at it 6 degrees at 1,000 meters. And the CAM2 IP as well as the Olifant had about 100mm improvement to their protection against heat rounds. Powerful unguided rockets, S-13s and S-24s, now require additional respawn points to be able to take out. And finally, the MiG-21 and 23's R-13Ms have been replaced with R-13M1s, which are better, I assume, and RS-3s got nerfed. They did actually have a source for this, so my assumption is this is the motivation behind the recent battle rating reduction, as they felt a necessity for the game to be accurate with the reduction of power of this missile, but that would make the jet suck too much at 9.7, or it could be vice versa. Now let's get on to what I've most wanted to talk about, and partially the reason why I skipped over some other minor details like the F9 and F2 getting tiny Tims. There was a Q&A, and this time there was a few good questions, a lot of filler questions, and some that I thought were actually funny. So starting off with aircraft, the first one was asking about people who base hug, and apparently they have a plan to rid the world of them. There are no plans for a Finnish airline in the Swedish tree, but plans for more Finnish vehicles is possible. They do want to put a MiG-21 BIS Su-22 as well as MiG-23 MFML into the East German line after the current MiG-21. F-101. They also plan to introduce the F-101 Voodoo, F-102 Delta Dagger, F-105 Thunder Chief, and F-106 Delta Dart. We know this already because there was a leaked model of the F-105. They don't want to make bigger maps for rank 7 jets, and it doesn't seem like there's any plans for more advanced British guided ammunitions, stating that the carriers of these weapons need to be introduced first, before the weapons themselves can. For ground questions, the first one was asking if there's going to be more big maps like Red Desert. Answers kind of maybe, but their ban like dislike statistics show that players apparently like compact maps more. Therefore, they're going to be adding various different styles of maps and terrains of different sizes. However, I'd say that the ban dislike statistics can't be used to quantify what is a liked and disliked map, because many players play on different tiers. A small map works quite well at low tiers, whereas a small map at top tiers is absolutely awful. In medium tiers, it's kind of in between. It also depends a lot on the type of tank that people like to play. If you like to play, say, the mouse, for whatever reason, you're going to absolutely hate big maps. But if you play something like the PTL-02, you might actually enjoy big maps. Personally, I've only played on Red Desert a few times. Most of the time in random queue, it was at mid tiers playing the Tiger. Not a very fun experience, at least not for me. The Hellcaps seem to be having a heck of a time. I did once play at top tier, though it was SRB, so maybe it's a bit different, but the map wasn't too bad. Next question down, asking about the British Spag line, noting that it has a gap from 4.0 to 8.0. In the question itself, it does bring up Centaur Mark 1 as well as the Skink. Gaijin replied saying that lol, no, score some more goals next time. This one's particularly funny because a lack of British Spags has been known about for some time. Possible solutions to the issue have been known about for some time, yet Gaijin fails to act. Same situation for this next question. Somebody asking for more Japanese tanks from 7.7 to 8.3, bringing up some great examples of the STB series, all the other 5 versions that we don't have in game, and Gaijin replied saying that it's too hard, but maybe we'll see the Type 74B and C. The next question, I'm pretty sure isn't actually a question, more of people acknowledging that Gaijin does indeed have a model of the Eclair XXI, and they want it. Gaijin's response says that there are many other modifications of the Eclair that will surely appear in game. After that was a demand for BTR 90s, and they apparently have plans for many. The next question, the actual question part of it, asked, do you consider the Black Knight technology demonstrated from BEA systems with the Iron Fist APS as well as the Rheinmetall Challenger 2 LEP with a new weapon? The response was, we do. The first option is a little more favorable than the other, but yes, there are not so many options for new MBTs for Britain. If Britain really does need another MBT, perhaps it would be a little too strong, but something for consideration would be a tank from one of their lost colonies, you could say, the Arjun. I know it would outclass just about everything we have in game, but it's the only tank they can bring in the top tier. Maybe the scarcity of them would balance it out a bit. Now on to the naval questions. The first one was saying that some maps do not have airfields, and their response is that they're fixing it, and they actually did. That was one of the changes that they talked about in the fixed it number 13. Next one is talking about how large open ocean maps are absolutely awful to play in a patrol boat, and Gaijin's response was a long-winded no. Then there was a request for the resource cost of the toolkits and fire prevention equipment to be lowered like they do in tanks, and their response was, well, what do you think the response was? It was a no. Then somebody was asking about naval enduring confrontation, if there's been any work going on that one. The response was a yes, however, I feel like it's a no. Although this weekend, or this week actually, there was an open naval enduring confrontation lobby. I have yet to check it out to see if they actually improved upon any of the issues, but it's back to Saipan. Hopefully they fix some of the issues that people had with it. However, it's likely that they just changed locations and it's still the same mess that it was in the past events. Finally, on to helicopter questions. The first one was asking about how the development of a helicopter PvE mode was going on, and they said they had few details that could be announced, that they're working on it, in particular adding new types of objectives like different SAM units. After that was someone asking for them to please nerf the S-13s, and they already did. The final helicopter question I'm going to read entirely. Will there be rebalancing of helicopters at top tier? The Soviet Kaz and Mi-28, together with the Tiger, have rather imbalanced weapon systems that make it possible to effectively deal with both ground and aircraft. The latter is completely knocked out with random battles due to very low efficiency, SAM spags, and armament of helicopters, Vickers, that effectively destroy both ground and aircraft, or PARs, which in automatic mode can destroy a large number of enemy vehicles in a short period of time, while helicopters can carry air air-to-air missiles and have onboard calculators for air cannons. So in short, various helicopters are OP. Please deal with it, Gaijin. Their response is, according to statistics, the best helicopter at the moment is the British AH Mark I, and the French Tiger had is the top 4 with quantity of ordnance, AGM 114s. So the real funny part there is the AH Mark I is the name of 3 separate helicopters, though we can assume that we're talking about the Apache, perhaps you could have said that can carry 16 AGM 114K Hellfires. But this is a primary example on why statistics aren't necessarily something to go off of. Why isn't it the US Apache that is the #1 vehicle? They both have the same armaments of 16 AGM 114s. Only difference is the type of anti-air missiles, where the British one gets Star Streaks, which can be used against tanks, but I don't think it'd be very effective for them. But no, the reason why it has a higher stat, whatever stat Gaijin uses, is because people play it less. The more information you put into a thing, the more averaged out the stat is. The less power do outliers have. If you were to flip a quarter 4 times and it lands on the head 4 of those times, it would be a 100% flip rate. But if you keep flipping that quarter, that 100% heads is gonna start to suffer. Eventually, there's going to be a point where it messes up. That's just a fate of how things go. So if you have more people taking out the US Apache, there's gonna be more opportunities for a bad player to take it out and die, opposed to the less number of players who take out the British Apache. Actually, an even better example of this is your own player stats. If I were to find out what vehicle I have the highest win rate in, would that be the C2A5 Series 3, which I have 100% win rate in. I only took it out in 12 battles. It is a pretty good airplane, but that doesn't mean that it's the perfect plane. It doesn't deserve 100% win rate. I just took it out in 12 battles and happened to win them all. Same thing happens in kill-death ratios. You know, in the BA-11, I have the 4-0 kill-death ratio. Sure, I took it out in one match and got 4 kills with it and just happened to not die. But no, 4-0. Unkillable vehicle. It needs to be 12-0. Similar story with the F-84B-26. There hasn't been a single match I played that thing in where I did not get, at the very least, a triple kill. Sure, I took it out in one match and got 3 kills with it once, but not once I've ever not gotten 3 kills. Things like these are probably similar situations to how Gaijin statistics look like. When's the last time you've actually seen in combat a British helicopter in general, let alone their Apache? But on the contrary, you've probably seen a lot of Ka-50s and Ka-52s and American Apaches. I bet those helicopters have awful stats because there's a lot of people out there who buy helicopters that get free kills and get shot down because they're bad. Like, there's a good number of Ka-50s I've been able to shoot down in the Type 93. What essentially I'm trying to say is, Gaijin, we know you're lying. You know that there is a problem with helicopters. Maybe that's your intention, but fix it. You've made plenty of money already. What do I mean by fix it? Easy. Take all the helicopters and put them in the recycling bin. The final questions are under the miss category. The first one asking about the US servers and how bad they are, and the response was that the number of game servers was increased, which reduced the load on separate servers and improved the situation. However, not as bad lately. It seemed to improve, mostly. And the last one asks if in future Battle Pass, the top vehicle will not be a tank, an aircraft, or a boat. I don't think anyone would grind for a boat. Real question, however, is what do you think is going to come around for the next event? I'm anticipating to happen when the enlisted one ends, which seems like it will happen in just a few days. And besides a few dumb memes that I'll use for bonus news and other videos, that's just about everything that so far has happened this week. Now, it is officially Friday in the state of Oregon as of this recording, so let's see in a few hours if anything does come out this Friday. Maybe we'll start getting devlogs for that event I just talked about. Be sure to hit the like button and the subscribe button before I end the video for it to like my Patrons, YouTube members, and Twitch subs. Thank you very much, guys. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, be sure to hit me up down below or my Discord. If you've liked the video, be sure to like button. If you didn't like the video, go ahead and like button. And if you want to see more, hit that subscribe button so you'll be notified anytime I upload anything at all. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a fantastic day. In the terms of bonus news, this totally not fake leak, definitely not made by Mochi APFSDS, is totally legit. Trust me, guys. I know a guy. He emailed me.